The launch of an XRP ETF is what these claims are built on, which makes them even more interesting. One example is BlackRock, a very large financial business that made a Bitcoin ETF that did very well. By the end of 2024, XRP could be worth as much as $1,650 to $2,900. It is rising very quickly. Get ready for a big break with your money. It has a great past with XRP. BlackRock's entry into XRP is a big deal because almost all of the ETF plans they've put forward have been accepted. BlackRock isn't the only company in the news, though. Grayscale, which has added XRP to their list of coins and suggested an XRP ETF, is another player in the game. This is proof that XRP and Ripple Labs is becoming more important in the world of foreign transactions. Let's quickly catch up before we get to today's post. It would be great if you could do me a favor.
Hey there, you're back at the place where you can learn everything about XRP. Click like, subscribe, and bell to join our great group and let everyone know we're getting. As we get closer to 10,000 users, get ready for a huge XRP gift. You only need to do these 3 easy things to join the giveaway, so be alert and ready. Don't forget to leave a code in the comments part right now as well. Today, let's check out what's new in the interesting world of XRP. Here are the numbers you need to know. It's clear that BlackRock has a good track record of accepting ETFs. However, BlackRock's move into cryptocurrencies and Web 3.0 changes the way standard finance thinks about digital currencies in a big way. BlackRock is the world leader in managing assets. Their almost perfect track record of accepting ETFs shows how knowledgeable they are in how to deal with the stock market. It's important to look at the big picture because big banks like JP Morgan and BlackRock have not only been thinking about XRP, they've also been buying it. Remember that BlackRock has an amazing 99.8% approval rate for ETFs, which makes them unbeatable in the ETF business. Reports, including one that was made public, say that these big companies have put more than 7.5% of their entire wealth into XRP. A new well-researched story says that BlackRock may be switching its entire attention from Bitcoin to XRP. This would show that people have changed the way they spend their money in a big way. People are becoming more interested in XRP, which makes it more likely that BlackRock will back an XRP ETF. But now things get even more interesting. There is a new player in the XRP story. The ETP exists, but it's not clear who made it. This is an important step toward an ETF. The XRP ETP is said to be out in the open, but it is not. Right now, more people are talking about the idea of starting an XRP ETF at the same time as the ETP. This simultaneous release not only makes sense, but it also shows how quickly work is moving on the ETF. To give you an idea of how fast it could come out just a few weeks after a Bitcoin ETF, XRP has a huge amount of potential. Once its ETF starts trading, its value could skyrocket to $1,650 or even $2,500, just like Bitcoin did from $0 to $43,000 before its ETF started trading. It's not as crazy as it sounds because the XRP is already live. A lot of people will be able to buy an XRP ETF in a few weeks. The traded product for XRP is now open to the public thanks to Fidelity, a big name in the financial world. This means that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is likely to approve an XRP ETF soon. In fact, we talked about a story yesterday that was based on a report that was leaked from BlackRock and said that an XRP ETF could be coming soon. According to this report, an ETF filing for XRP was about to happen. Then a well-known BlackRock analyst made a public statement announcing the start of a BlackRock ETF that would only hold XRP. They even talked about the iShares XRP Trust in an ETF article. I wasn't sure about this at first, but I think like
This new development changes everything and shows how close we are to seeing XRP's market situation change in a big way, maybe even bigger than the changes we've seen with Bitcoin's ETF. A new study shows a big change in the world of cryptocurrencies, and sure enough, it's on the Delaware list of online companies. They bought more than 7.5 million XRP, which shows that big businesses are getting involved with cryptocurrencies. BlackRock is ahead of the rest because they not only hold a lot of XRP, but also use the XRP system in their business. Even more important, BlackRock will probably start trading XRP ETFs as soon as they become available to the public. You can't say enough about how much the value of an XRP ETF changes. That's why a $9,831 gold price for XRP, which may seem high at first, makes sense when you think about all the important things that are about to happen. They are almost certain to accept the XRP ETF because that is what they always do. With the ISDA as its main driver, XRP is getting ready to become a major player in the trade of foreign debt. The BRICS countries, including Saudi Arabia, are also adding the XRP record to their systems. The Republic of Palau is also using XRP database to help its central bank make digital money. In this standard case of high volume, high demand and limited supply, it makes sense that the value of each XRP coin would go through the roof. A lot of people are talking about this lately, and some think that my excitement about XRP is just a dream. They might be right, but let me explain. I'm sure that hope keeps you going, especially when things are really tough and you're just about to give up. That's fine with me, if you don't believe in hope and think it's all just wishful thought. I take a deep breath, roll this opium into a big ball, and light it. That's very strong stuff. Since we're here to keep things quiet, anything less feels like that. Since we're talking about good things, I love how interesting the conversations are and how different everyone's ideas are. It really makes you think. Someone made a good point about organizations and XRP, which they don't have to buy. That's an interesting thought, right? So I thought about what would happen if regular people were the only ones who bought XRP. I looked into this some more and even asked ChatGPT how many trades happened every day on the SWIFT system. The answer was over $7 trillion, which I thought was crazy. Remember that this only talks about foreign trade and not the derivatives market, which has 4 quadrillions of smart contracts worth scarce tokens. Think about how XRP could be used in NFTs or tokenized assets like real estate. Focus on trade between countries, since that's what SWIFT does. What do you think would happen if that $7 trillion was cut in half? What if XRP, with its 1,700 links, yes, XRP and Ripple have really raised the bar, which is why the system would have to store $3 trillion for each day, just to handle $3 trillion of it. If this happens, XRP could be worth more than $1.50 per share. If that happens, its value will definitely go up because XRP has a big network and it makes sense to think that some of these links will invest in it. To go back to what we've already talked about, prices could go through the roof once the system goes live, even if institutions choose to rent instead of buy. This is especially true if XRP even just has a small share of the market we're talking about.